All right, folks, welcome back to another D2C show. Today we talk about Louis Vuitton's $8,000 shit kickers. We go into old people protesting about DropBox, and then we bring a shirtless robot on named Nick Shackelford to talk all things D2C.
I add a couple of new things to the list of things that we would want to have on the app side. And then we talk a little bit about the difference between agency and brand. And I say shirtless this entire time and potentially pantsless.
You're going to love it.
It's the DTC show. Jump right in, you better get on it fast so you don't miss anything with Rabah and Jess. It's the latest news and some random ass guest. All your favorite segments that you are obsessed. Win so much, be a part of the show. Get your ass up in the chat and let it all flow. So jump right in, there is so much to know. It's your #1 marketing show.
Oh, you're the drummer? I guess I'll be the bassist. There we go.
Bangs. Slapping the bass. Yeah, gee, those air drums, undefeated over here. Shaq's the axe man or the front man, shirtless already.
Already gone. Already losing it.
So welcome everyone to the D2C show. This is an ongoing experiment. A couple of folks just talking about D2C, having fun. If you're along for the ride, I hope you are also having fun. It's currently about 85 of you guys watching, so get up in the chat. We want to hear from you. This is a participatory show as well. We'll get into that strange man in the small bubble here in a second. But before we do that, I just want to share some possible things that are possible here with the merch. We are giving away multiple merch draws here.
Sick.
So on the left, we have this like sort of Hawaiian D2C show print. We'll be giving that away. And then we have this Agency Boss muscle shirt.
It's too good. It's too
Oh my god, dude! This is not real. This is not real. It is not real.
And then we have one that is too spicy for the show right now, but we'll be giving that away a little bit later.
Ooh.
So if anyone wants to win this merch, there's two things you can do. You can retweet or repost any of the live links that are currently live right now, or you can drop a comment in the chat that's worthy of getting on the list. And then Jada, the producer, will collect all those people, and then we'll run those giveaways a little bit later in the show.
This is, where did we find an attractive looking Indian guy like this?
AI, bro. AI.
AI. That looks that guy exists. That's not AI. That's a real dude.
Would you wear that, Nick?
I have that. It doesn't say agency boss. It doesn't say agency boss, but it's pretty damn close. And look, as you guys can tell, I love a good skull. I love a good wing, and I like diamonds. So I'm actually in that. So I appreciate that. That's
You even
clever.
got some French bulldogs in the bottom there.
Oh, I thought
I
those were
see.
bears. Oh, that is so good.
It's
God,
good.
Jess,
It's good.
you're undefeated. Undefeated you are.
Hat tip, sir.
The Fairmont account checking in. Give one of those to the free shirts to Nick. Okay. Well, Nick, you will get these. You don't have to win the draw. You will get both of these.
Perfect.
As well. All right. So let's introduce this shirtless man right here. Nick, let's just.
Aren't we blessed to have the greatest guest? Let's hear your story in the 10 seconds that we have left.
This is you. Go.
Okay. In 10 seconds, my name is Nick Shackelford. I've been in this space for 10 years, which is appropriate for the 10 seconds. Started with 50
Time's up, sounds amazing, but we gotta go. If you want to know more, check the description below.
Got to do better than that.
Yeah,
That's way faster than 10 seconds. There's no way.
Well, it took a little while to get you going, but we got a good 3 seconds out of it. But there's links in the below if you want to understand Nick a little bit more. All right, so moving on in this ongoing experiment, we have the news of the week.
Let's go.
It's your DTC news of the week, the latest news with a spicy critique.
This show's like a jobs program for jingle makers or something.
Yes, indeed.
So we have a few different news things here. I think we have 4. The first one that we're going to talk about is Klayvio. It is the email service that almost every agency uses, and now they themselves are an agency and providing services. So, Rabah, you wanted to talk about this?
Yeah. So I think there's a few kind of angles here. One, this is a public company now. So now they're beholden to quarterly results. They need to make sure their numbers are going to hit. The lockup is about to expire pretty soon. So that's obviously going to just naturally depress the price because people are going to sell off and make billions of dollars. But what I find fascinating here is, and I really want to hear what you have to say, Nick, because do you guys do email as well, Jess, or no?
We have one client we do email for you.
Okay. Because Nick, you guys do email as well, correct? Yeah. So I really want to hear your take because it's closer to you guys than it is me. But from the outside looking in, I thought it was the right move, which might be a hot take. I don't think it was that horrific of a move. I think it was just an absolute PR comms blunder. I think if they would have rolled this out and said, hey, we're only going after, like almost positioning it more like the OG disruptors program where we're only going to go after the 0.1%. These people probably aren't even work with you anyways, yada, yada, yada. Like I think that would have landed a lot more, but like I just had Jon Snow on the Equation of Excellence, shameless plug, the Firm Out podcast, and he's like a platinum, whatever partner, like the highest partner, whatever, and he didn't get any heads up either. Everybody just got this kind of very sterile email with what's going to happen, and I think that was probably the biggest mess up was the comms rollout, not necessarily the strategic decision to do that. But Shaq, I would love to hear from you, and then you as well, Jess, because I just don't think it's going to be really hard to compete with Klayvio if you don't have a Klayvio in. Like that's just the facts. Like I mean, it's again very much like the Disruptors program, where if I have an inside line, if I'm sending millions of emails a month, et cetera, all things being equal, I'd rather have a Klayvio rep than an agency. But Shaq, where's your head at?
So we're probably top 5 for sure, maybe top 3 of like refers to Klayvio because of how big we are.
Clay.
And Chase and I are like, when this went live, because obviously talking with Jimmy and Chase and the guys, and we're sitting there and we're like, how is this possible for them to release it this way? Like we remember there was another like SaaS tool and app, and everyone like started raising prices. This wasn't a price raise. This was literally going, thank you agencies for building our businesses. By the way,
right,
we have to go get that. And I get it from like a service provider standpoint. I understand with the like their stock prices where they need to go with their company direction. And you have a lot of guys on LinkedIn and Twitter talking about, guys, look, it's a public company. It makes total sense for them to do this. Even when Google and Facebook gives you recommendations on how to use it, they're not like going like, hey, we're going to manage this for you or build templates for you. You're not doing that. Like maybe some might go above and beyond the call and build a campaign for you. That shit happens. But this is basically saying we have templates that we're going to make for you. And who's going to, the biggest issue is like when you're a newer or smaller agency and you have a Klayvio guy going like, I work for Klayvio, you need this template.
Klayvio.
Breeze Brez, same thing. You go, like you have somebody on their side going, oh, this template's the one you have to use versus a Lithuanian email strategist going, no, I've spent years studying this. This is exactly what you should be doing. No.
Yeah. If they need to pull revenue from this, it has to be a massive program. And I really feel like the quality of it, like if you're like starting your business or whatever, and you're trying to get your email program, like you don't want to go to the massive Klayvio factory and expect to get the value out of it. If you're going to spend $30K, like the amount of value that you could get from structured with $30K versus whatever this is night and day. It has to be.
It's wild. Yeah. Well, $30,000 investment on it. Now we don't know, is this a month? Is this a one-time thing? Is this like you're done? But $30,000 goes a long way. And there's going to be people that are going to pay that for sure. But when this rolled out, it got as much attention and problems as it should have gotten because the way that they did that was inappropriate.
Inappropriate, such a good descriptor. And I think this could be the tip of the iceberg because if you think of how aggressive meta reps are, and I know a lot of, I mean, you guys, this is your world as well, where there's a lot of meta reps that will like kind of backdoor clients and be like, hey, your campaigns aren't doing well. You should look at this. Like if they go down
Mm-hmm.
that route, or even worse, start poaching from structured or whatever, because these are going to have sales goals, right? Like these people are going to have quotas and they might not know, like very often, especially when you get to a company of Klayvio's size, the right hand has no idea what the fuck the left hand's doing. And Shaq is this epic partner. And then Billy or Susie is like, dude, this is a really cool brand. We should go after him. And then they start
Yeah.
poaching. I think that can get into some really, really weird places. Furthermore, again, looking at it through that kind of enterprise value stock lens, doesn't this move them closer to a services business and less of a SaaS business, which is way more margin compression, way more OpEx because you have to
Yeah.
hire people? Like, and so I don't know. There's a lot to be seen, but I think at the end of the day, I love your descriptor, Shaq. I think the rollout was inappropriate. I don't think it was wrong. I think it was actually the right move, but inappropriate is just a perfect way to put that.
I think the last thing I'll say on this is like what makes sense, and I talk a lot about this with Jimmy, and he's like the real benefit that a lot of these platforms are going to have is kind of what you've seen with Facebook and Google going like, hey, give us Advantage Plus, we're going to run everything here. We know what is going to work. Like Klayvio is going to have the information of, hey, these flows should be going. You need to make one or two more emails. They should just be giving recommendations from the platform to whoever is using it. They don't
Yes.
need to be using it, but they should just be pumping out, cool, this campaign could be optimized. Here's the recommendations based on all the other data, all the other people you have in your space. Here's your benchmarks, go improve it. So that's the way that I wish they would have went. And if they would have been like, jump on a call with us to whoever's using the tool, not brands to be managed, agencies to
Yeah.
be managed, like be a partner to those that have built your business, and we would have been celebrating this opportunity, honestly.
Yeah, this is a big opportunity for Klayvio's smaller competitors. When we
Yes.
talked to our email
Yeah.
our email person, she was legitimately freaked out because this happened,
Damn.
and so the loyalty is gone, and so the loyalty, like the same referral engine that helped Klayvio get to where they are, can now be deployed to um, whatever that
Anything
service
else?
Jimmy's running. Yeah, any of those. So
Yeah.
No. Yeah, that's absolutely well said. Shaq, I don't know if you froze out the chat or broke the chat. We got some quiet people today. I mean, it is a little earlier, but if we have any agency owners or email people, pop in the chat what your guys' thoughts are. Were you scared about it? Are you happy about it? How are you going to approach it? But I think you guys are spot on.
all right, so moving on. This is how you can tell that Rabah was in control of the news segment this week.
Yes.
Why are we talking about this?
$8,000 shit kickers. Come on, let's go. I don't know. I've just been really one. I'm just really into like the high end luxury anti marketing playbook. I think it's just the most fascinating thing where everything that you do in the anti marketing playbook is like, if you're not a luxury brand, you never want to do this stuff. But for people that don't know, Pharrell took over after Virgil passed as the new Louis V director. And I don't know, I haven't really been in love with this, but I thought this was actually quasi interesting. $8,000 boots, they're limited edition. They're not horrible. They look pretty cool. They have this really cool callback to the leather making. And I don't know, French high fashion with a mix of little Texas yeehaw. I kind of fuck with it. I thought it was interesting. And for that price point, like obviously that's a lot of money. Don't get me wrong, or maybe not for Shaq, but for most people, it's a lot of money. And the 8,000 is like, there's some on ramps for people there. Like there's definitely like I have some sneakers in that realm, put it that way. And
It,
so I think it's cool. I don't know. And I like the idea of the limited edition. Kith actually just sold out. They did a little collab with Nike, but they did the sell out through their members club, which I thought is really cool. So I don't know. That I just thought was a really cool vibe. I think this is interesting. One of the other things that he did that was really interesting, where it basically wasn't even for purchase. It was kind of a friends and family thing, but a millionaire bag that was all crocodile. It had a bedazzled lock. It was a 24 karat gold chain. I mean, it's literally $1 million bag, like $1 million duffel. So I don't know. I like when high fashion kind of takes these little quirky, weird things, and I love that they're getting away a little bit from the monogrammed print. So I don't know. I thought it was just a really interesting way to, again, seem quasi accessible, but also have this like really cool product. I think the actual end product is actually pretty cool.
Vermont should expense these for you for content purposes.
D2C Hunter, come on, let's go, Shaq Daddy.
Dude, you just can't wear boots in California. I can't. Well, let's put it this way. I can't look the way I look and wear boots. So there's like a lot of issues that I probably run into, especially with no hair and all beard.
Fair. But so do you like the drop though? Do you think it's quirky? Do you think it missed? Like, what are your thoughts?
I mean, I wish there was a way to measure what like impressions or reach it gets from these things. Because I remember I'm not a major Pharrell follower or fan, but could you imagine just like you're walking through normal day life and just people are like, "Oh my God, thank you so much for making these shoes."
It's
Like,
insane.
like are these guys just is this just a group chat with him and Kanye and Jordan and they're just and LeBron going like, "Yo, did you see my shoes?" And they're just like texting shoes back and forth. Like this to me is just so wild that people are this in love with shoes. Granted, I'm speaking to somebody who has a wall of shoes. That your room is probably $50,000+ worth of shoes. It's fair?
No, that's way. Or the heat's in the living room, but that's not that much. But it's not. It's in the ballpark.
The heat is in the living room. So like,
yeah.
What's in the bathroom?
This guy, I can't take him anywhere. No, I liked it. I thought it was a really cool vibe. I think it's interesting. I don't know. At worst, it's interesting, but I like when these brands take these weird, wacky risks because at the end of the day, that's like whether you like it or not. All of our fashion that we wear is a function of high fashion, which is kind of perplexing. But that's the seed that then gets kind of not bastardized, more pasteurized is probably a better verb, down to something that the normal people will wear. And so I don't know. I just like following it. And again, I think it's just a weird, quirky. Like, who would have thought a high end French like iconic fashion house is gonna kick out boots? Like,
well, you think about this, like you have Boots coming out, you have Taylor Swift coming off the biggest country quote unquote pop tour, and then you have Beyonce dropping her like country album. There's kind of like the timing of Pharrell going like, cool,
they're
let's
all
go.
in the same group chat. Yeah, for sure.
Amazing. Finally, P Money.
There we go.
Fashion is a function of fashion. Pasteurized. Exactly, Phil.
What a smart guy.
You
what
got
a smart
it.
guy. All right, moving on. Some TikTok news. So they've been talking about banning TikTok for a while, but the legislation is in. It passed. I think it's going to the House or something, or going to the Senate. I don't think any politicians are lining up on the side of TikTok. It's very much a political football that they're. I think this is going to get signed. So it's going to be like. They divest within, I don't know, like 60 days or 90 days or something, or they're banned from the App Store. So this is interesting to me because I think what will happen is once this is signed, like the divestiture will have to happen. But this is going to cause so much instability all over the place. Not even just like within the algorithm, but the creators are going to freak out and going to post more in Reels. And it's just I expect this TikTok platform to be freaking crazy. And I'm not sure how this affects the ad product, but what I do know is that these ad products do not like instability. Like Meta does not like friggin' outages or whatever. And it causes ripples, for weeks. And so if we're injecting all kinds of instability into this platform, it's going to be an absolute mess.
Yeah, this gets me so unsettled because like to be really good at TikTok, like to be really good at Meta is not as in like relative terms, it's not as hard to be really good at TikTok because of the speed at which you got to get content, the approvals, the shops. Like there's so much to do on that team to get in. And I'm speaking from like we just cracked this. Like Aaron just got to a place where we're spending a good amount of money, and it's a major revenue driver for us. And so when this starts to happen, we're kind of like, dude, does that mean it's just a slow? Is it like what was the app that where you just jump in and then you talk and then everyone get off? There's like live chat rooms. What is this one?
Chat
Clubhouse.
Clubhouse. Is it going to be like Clubhouse? Clubhouse peaked and then it just slowed death. Is that what's going to happen with Tik?
Well, engagement rates are down too. I mean, that was the other news with TikTok. The engagement rates are down 20%, 25% year over year. So maybe it has peaked. You know,
It's hard for me to believe because they're still pushing so much. TikTok Shop and the affiliates are just getting on board. Like people are just starting to realize, oh shit, I can make some cash. So I feel like it should be going. And we've been talking about it so long. I remember we did a talk about when Donald Trump was going, oh, we're going to get rid of TikTok. And this isn't even like a Trump thing. This is now far beyond someone just having I don't want this to be here.
Yeah.
Man, because not to get political, but I am more small government. I want like capitalism. I'm very for that stuff. But I got to tell you guys, some of the shit that like, if this, it gets close to a national security risk for me, honestly. Like if you think of some other nation, but again, not to get too serious, but like looking through the lens of national security, can you imagine? Because China doesn't have the same app that we do.
Yeah.
And so can you imagine you have this,
of course,
because like our military is beyond compare. Like our Navy, like the bottom, like second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth biggest navies. Our Navy Air Force is bigger than anybody's Air Force, and so the only way to really destruct the U.S. is from within and causing dissent and causing turmoil and putting people against each other. Also, an election year, and so as much as I hate the idea, I think there are some lines to be drawn where, like, dude, do you want China being able to control the zeitgeist of the U.S.? Like that's a legitimate question in my opinion. And so I think there's a lot to be here, and it's definitely going to have some, like you said, Jess, a ton of knock-on effects, because not only the direct money being made, but there's so many cottage industries like UGC shops that pump content through TikTok, and you're taking this channel away that drives significant revenue. Again, Jon Snow on the podcast, he's super bullish on TikTok SEO, where it's a thing, man, where you can just post stuff, and if it pops, it goes live. So, on the one hand of capitalist, et cetera, I think it's bad. But on the other hand, I legitimately, when you think of news consumption, a lot of Gen Z and younger is consuming their news on TikTok. And I think that not having a national entity, or not being US based, therefore it's not governed by US laws, I think gets into some really weird places really quickly. And so I don't know. I think that it's actually, I don't know if it goes through, but I do see.
I would be fine if TikTok was run by Germany or came out of the Netherlands or something, but China's just not. They already like sabotage their systems all the time. So to expect them not to be doing something here is naive.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. And Phil, your green bubble kills me. You get out of here with this green bubble nonsense. But yeah, I don't know. So do you think Shaq, you think it passes?
My heart says your stance of national security coming to elections, it makes me nervous. I don't use TikTok. I don't have it on my phone, but what it does for consumerism, what it does for us to kind of get sales. Yeah, obviously it's a direct benefit to our scale.
That's the opiate line, bro. Like, what are you, a Sackler now? Like, I don't use it, but it's helping people relieve pain. And if people want to relieve pain, and we're selling our stuff at fair market price, and I don't use it, but if people want, so I don't know.
Look, I don't get high on my own supply. Let's put it this way.
Like, baby. Let's go, baby.
But I want everybody else to consume.
I mean, jokes aside, I do think there's going to be some significant knock-on effects to U.S.-based businesses doing U.S.-based commerce. So I do think that's a negative. But
I will say, Meta still reigns king. Still.
For sure.
The boy's back.
TikTok ad platform's trash, but the actual like organic SEO, like it's not horrible. Like you can get to some really interesting places really quickly. But not stock advice, but I think there might be a Meta play here where you might want to load up on some Meta, because if this does pass, Reels or maybe Google, where you're going to see a flood into YouTube Shorts. But it's just such a different like vibe. I mean, the YouTube app is actually great with the Shorts, but Reels are awesome, man. I fall into Reels really quickly, and my wife are there.
My wife's like, no, I hate TikTok. I don't like TikTok. I don't use it. And it's like, show me your Reels. And it's like, okay, well, there's TikTok right there.
So well put. It's
like, really, babe, I don't want to argue, but
yeah, I didn't think about that. That's a really great point, Jess. So, Jess, do you think it gets passed? So
I do think this.
No?
I think this gets passed. I think the divestiture happens, but it's a mess.
Well, the other thing that people don't understand, or not understand, but like ByteDance is monstrous. Like
Yeah.
TikTok's actually a tiny, I think it's less than 10% of ByteDance's revenues. I mean, TikTok's like an absolute quote unquote monster, but in terms of percentages of ByteDance, the parent company, it's actually a very, very small amount of the revenue that comes through to ByteDance. So I don't think it's going to affect ByteDance, but the divestiture is going to be really weird because like if it's a US company, but then what if there's servers off U.S. soil, then it can get into a rat's nest really quickly.
Yeah, and as Rashab says, maybe there's a return of Snap. Maybe there's an opportunity for Snap for someone else to get back in there.
Snap, let's go. Oh, is Snap really? Dude, Rashab's, he is the stock king. His portfolio is almost Pelosi-esque.
All right, so we have
D Hagstad, let's go, Dennis. You missed last night. We were wondering where you were. Sorry, go ahead, Jess.
Yep. So we have 224 concurrent viewers here. So y'all get up in the chat if you want to win this merch. All right, so let's just watch this video.
DropBox, you need to quit. I'm too old for this shit. DropBox, you need to quit. I'm too old for this shit. DropBox, you need to quit. I'm too old for this shit. DropBox, you need.
All right, so Rabah, for the podcast listeners who are just like, what was that? Why don't you describe what's going on in this video and why we're talking about this?
For people that are watching, there is a coordinated protest with, I don't want to say elderly because that sounds like a pejorative, but people that have some years on their life and have experienced the world are protesting against the barbarity that is Dropbox, the savagery that Dropbox pushes onto the world. And this was actually done outside of the big Adweek conference. So this is actually a good friend of ours, Ari. He runs all the marketing over at Air Inc., who's a direct competitor to Dropbox. And I think it's just brilliant. One, it's just brilliant. Two, it's really good to have an enemy, like in a positive way. But having somebody that you go after and you can rally against, and there's a there. Like Steve Jobs, for all of his shortcomings as a person, was one of the best operators, managers, leaders on the planet, and that's what that he always had an enemy, and that it turned into Android, went nuclear. But I thought it was just brilliant. I think I'm guessing this wasn't a ton of spend. Just huge impact. You're getting all these impressions. We're talking about it on the DTC show. Yeah. He also did go ahead.
The other benefit to this, which people don't talk about, like it gets eyeballs to new people, but your current customers are like, yeah, I love being a part of this company and this brand. And so it reduced churn, I'm sure.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And he just did something else pretty quirky where they hired a chief imaginary officer, and exactly. I got the air behind me as well, Shaq. A chief imaginary officer, and then they had this big launch, and then they fired him like 2 or 3 days later, and then they had like some beefs with other big creators and stuff.
Love it.
I love this. I mean, at the end of the day, there needs to be business impact. But in terms of like thinking out of the box, like a moonshot marketing idea, I love it. I thought it was just top floor. And so hats off to Ari and everybody over at Air Inc. I think this is one of the, like, drop the box. You just have this like old eclectic woman yelling profanities about a software service. Like, that's amazing. Like Shaq's face,
Robbie,
that was totally worth it. Like just Shaq's face was totally worth all the money
you have to
spent on this.
You have to think that like this probably isn't that expensive. Like there's probably like they are making big swings, but it's some stuff is digital. Looks like what, 25 people. There's literally cops standing there, but they're not doing anything, so they got to know what's going on.
The
cops got called.
No, the cops got called.
I know that
for the protest.
But they're literally in the video. You can see the video when they're panning. But there's no way that this cost a tremendous amount of dollars for the eyeballs that I got.
I would say 10K and under. I would say 10K.
This is
ceiling.
So, dude, you've spent more money on a flight.
Yeah. No, so I don't know. I love when SaaS marketers, I think B2B SaaS marketers can get really caught up too much sometimes in the quantitative, and that's very important. Like, don't get me wrong, MQLs, SQLs, blah, 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 blah. If you're not in B2B SaaS, don't even think about those things because they'll give you nightmares. But if you are, you know what I'm saying, getting pipeline and things like that. But I think you're absolutely right, Shaq, where it's not only an awesome retention play, but brand building, and you just get this, like, you want to be part of this. And I think it's great. And it's also kind of really awesome because it brands Dropbox, whether it's right or wrong, as this old crusty technology.
It's a
you're a
narrative.
technology,
Form a narrative. Yeah.
form a narrative, and if you say it enough, it works. And I don't know, I just thought it was fantastic. And to your point, Shaq, the resources that had to go into this were probably not nothing, but this wasn't a $50,000-$60,000 kind of spend where if you did a brand video or something like this. So I thought
Well,
it was just really clever.
Rashab says you spend more in a hotel room. Is that true?
What? I'm getting cooked over here. What did I do? Jeez.
So fun fact, we actually have a onboarding call with Air later this afternoon. They finally got us to sign up.
Let's go, Ari.
So yeah, hats off to them. All right, so moving on to the next segment here, which is relevant. It is SaaS Survivor.
SaaS Survivor, SaaS Survivor. There can be only one software provider.
So this is a segment where if you were to start a business tomorrow or you're growing your business, what are the 10 most important tools that will sort of allow you to do that? And we've been evolving these over the weeks. I already see some that sometimes the guest puts weird stuff on there and then it gets removed the next time. So Shaq, if anyone in the chat, if you have ideas for SaaS that you use, I, for one, Perplexity is a good tool. It can replace Google for sure.
It replaces Google for me, especially with research. It's
what?
Chat
I don't
GPT.
even.
Oh, get hip, dude. The too long didn't read Perplexity AI. Fantastic. If you think of like all the good things about ChatGPT and all the good things about Google, and if they had a baby, like, because one of the challenges, and Jess, you're super diligent about all the research you do and stuff like that. The challenge with ChatGPT, it's like 97, 98%, and then you get caught with your pants down in some crazy like statistic that is just absolutely completely off base. And the challenge with research and knowledge work is it needs to be 100% all the time. Like you can't have this 99 percentile where I say something and then I'm talking out my butt because I have this wrong thing that ChatGPT gave me or hallucinated or whatever. Perplexity, magnificent. Like Google me, Shaq. Look what it says about me. I
But
think that's probably why I like it.
For a creative, it doesn't. ChatGPT still is tied into Dolly and stuff, and so that's sort of how I use ChatGPT. So it doesn't quite replace it, unless it does.
No, horses for courses. It replaces it for my research, for my thing, but I still ideate with ChatGPT. I'll still do like you were saying, Jess, like visuals and stuff like that. No, it's still great, but in terms of like knowledge work and having to do, because it shows you sources, it does these things, and so I think ChatGPT is fantastic, but Perplexity for research in specific, like I said, Googling, like I'm not going to Google, hey, what's some great marketing ideas, but I can pop that in ChatGPT with some proper prompts. But Perplexity is more of that research vector for me.
The other thing that Perplexity / ChatGPT done to Google is just expose how awful Google results are. They've just been getting worse and worse and worse over the years. And as soon as you see something that's better, it's like, where has this been all my life?
Yes.
I think I would add.
Oh, sorry. Go
I
ahead,
think
Sean.
I think so. You guys have Fantastical as is the calendar app, yeah?
Yeah, I use Fantastical. I love it. I love
so
it. It's
Fantastical. We're on VimCal, which I very much so like, and we're on Superhuman on the email side of things. Paying for email, I never thought I would be a thing, but I've been a user for 3+ years. It's just fast. And especially if you're running 2 people in an inbox or 3 people, when you have different people managing it, it actually is pretty nice for setting reminders and moving forward. New one that you guys, well, in terms of us on the creating content and documenting things very publicly, there's an app called Oasis. You voice text, and it comes through very, very clear, and it's nice. It's nice. I think it's worth your time if you're trying to create more or better content and you just want to speak into it. So Oasis is another one.
All right. Well, let's put that on there. We need to. So everything we put on, we need to take something off. So I feel like either CapCut or Canva can leave. Probably
CapCut.
Yeah, nuke it.
Oasis. All right, and then
look at you, Shaq. Let's go.
There's a couple things that we use outside of this, but I might be on the back of Air. That might be something I'm doing very, very much.
Yeah. It's actually pretty awesome because if you use, especially with all the videos that you guys do, they have
a
Frame.io functionality built in, which is pretty cool. Versioning, not trying to pitch Ferrari, but it's actually it's pricey, but it's a really, really cool tool.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's a good point, Phil. If CapCut is dead, or if TikTok is dead, CapCut is probably nuked as well.
Or Phil, or they develop the product and go hard into creators and making that the tool that Reels and Shorts use.
Interesting.
Because if they're like, oh fuck, you're gonna kill my parent, like this is gonna be a Batman moment for it.
I don't hate that, but I would also push back a little bit where it feels like CapCut is the bullets to the gun. And so if I can give more bullets and then the gun can shoot more, I can hit the target more. And so I make more money. And so basically they can break even or even lose money on CapCut because if they're enabling more people to make better content faster, that means more inventory on the app. And then either monetizing that. I mean, more inventory is pretty much the only way that you can raise your prices in an auction-based ad system. So I do take your point though, Shaq.
Interesting. Okay. Well said.
All right. So an app that I've used over the past few weeks that's really changed the game for me is Reclaim. Did you used to use it, Rabah?
Reclaim.
I've heard this before.
So it's time blocking with AI mixed in. And so like time blocking as a concept for me has really changed things. And so I will, if I have a task that needs to get done or something comes into my mind, I'll just do a quick shortcut. I'll create a task, 15 minutes, Reclaim puts it on the calendar, wherever it needs to go based on the priority. And if meetings come in, Reclaim will move all this stuff around. And so it's really allowed me to like get a lot more done. Time blocking is hard because you do it and it's fixed, but Reclaim allows that flexibility in there.
Jess, here's my hard part because I like these things, and I know everyone's big on Motion Calendar for something similar to this. I have a process and a system already with my assistant, and we are very much in tune on where we're going. How does an assistant and a tool like this work in cohesion, especially when you're having calls across? This is consulting. This is new business. This is internal. These things are moving. Like if you're like kind of operating within yourself and you know your schedule, it's not too much for variability into it. But if you have a lot of complexity, will things like this and an assistant support itself?
I think this does replace the time management part of an assistant. One thing that was really an epiphany to me was there was a lot of times where I wasn't getting my tasks done, my like copywriting and stuff done because I couldn't figure out why. But once I started time blocking other things and my day is sort of blocked, it allows me permission to be like, I just didn't have time to get to this other stuff and not feel bad about it, because my day was full. I'm sorry. It is the way it is. And so without the time blocking, my day was just like random chunks and I just felt bad because I didn't get to sort of these small things. So,
okay.
Now,
okay. Appreciate that, dude.
I used to be a big AccuFlow guy, and I've kind of waned in that. And this looks really amazing because the other thing is we don't have like the fancy Google Suite yet. And I love like when you have like the upper echelon Google Suite, you can actually see your breakouts of how you're spending your time because I hate meetings and I want to make sure that the only meetings I'm going, like I'm not having too many hours of meetings in my day or in my week. And so it has this little free tracking report, which is pretty gas. I'm going to have to try this. And it's a throwaway number, right? $12 per user a month. Like it's an absolute impulse purchase all day, twice on Sundays. I'm going to have to try this. I vote this on the island.
Jess.
I think I would nuke, what did you nuke? I would nuke
Elevar.
Elevar. That's exactly what I would have nuked. Perfect. Yep. They had to exit anyways. He's doing well. Good on you, Brad. Let's go, Brad.
All right. So moving on to the next segment here. Agency Man, Brand Boi.
It's Agency Man, building brands as fast as he can. It's Agency Man, Shackelford and he's got some big plans.
Is that a bop? That's a bop, right?
I think the tattoos fit the music.
I think so.
Oh my God. Okay, go. Lead me in.
So one reason why we wanted to have you on is because you've had success in multiple areas on the agency side and now on the brand side with Brez Breezy's one of those. And so I know a lot of agency people, they always think they can, as soon as they get to a certain point, they're like, I can do a brand. Anyone can do a brand. I can do a brand. I have all the skills and talent or whatever. It doesn't always work out like that. And I'd say it's actually more rare that they have success with the brand side coming from the agency. A lot of times they get over their head, or they're like, I didn't know about fulfillment, whatever. But I'm curious, what are some things that you've learned, from the agency side that you've brought to the brand side with Brez?
So this is, I think I tweet this every single year, but I'm going to be the best partner to my partners. And I tweet this every single year. When I'm 10 and a half, 11 years in on the agency side for other people's agencies and our agencies, and the current stack of like time and allocation, structured, constant, lucid, breeze. Those are the four horses that are in the current Shack stable. That's how I'll describe it. When you have an individual like Aaron, who has so much love and so much interest and a true visionary, like this man was with me for 2 days at Grow LA, and from the moment he got in the car to the moment he went home, we talked nonstop about like, this is going to be as big as it. This is going to change your life. Like he's indoctrinating me to start to believe, look, this is going to be, you need to understand that this is a very big cultural moment, which I think it is. And it's going to really impact a lot of lives that we don't even fully understand yet. And playing against like big beverage from the Coca-Cola side to the Budweiser side is like hundreds of billions of dollars. And we're sitting here in D2C where we're like, we idolize some of these larger $50+ million brands. Like, oh, how do they do it? Like Aaron's like, you need to understand that that's a different trajectory to us. I'm sitting at Shopify up. We're under 12 months, and we're at a $10 million run rate as long as we don't fuck things up.
That's amazing, dude.
Oh,
this is
impressive.
This is crazy. And so you asked that your core question is like, what did agency prepare for this? The brand moves a little bit slower because there's, like you mentioned, there's a lot of things that have to be monitored. Aaron will essentially heat seeker missile into an area that needs to be fixed or area that needs to be opened or cracked. As soon as he cracks it and moves it, he goes, cool, who can help and backfill? So for in our relationship, I'm on the subscription, retention, email, design, SMS side. That is in community. Like that is the area that I have to play and live in, because even though I'm an acquisition dude and I love paid ads, there's a certain type of way that we have to run our things. That's Aaron. We can't do it without him and his brain. And a lot of it, the shit that's cracking is him phone to or face to phone on his TikTok ads or meta ads. And so on the agency side, we have this understanding that you can't be romantically tied to what this is going to do. You just need to make a lot more of it. Whereas some brand founders are like, they're so, it has to look this certain type of way, or it has to be perfect to get it going. And we're okay with shipping things 75+%. Can't be 50, but it's got to be as good enough to move it into the right direction. And I think that's what we get on the agency, because we just see so many things.
Yeah.
And if I could throw some commentary from the Peanut Gallery as well, I think one of the things that you guys did so well is, as you said, one, there's a narrative attached to it. So I think people experience the world in stories. And so people can give people a story. It's also this very interesting on-ramp for people that seek consciousness change but don't want to smoke a joint, don't want to drink alcohol, they don't want, and so it's this really nice on-ramp for these people that want to unwind, but maybe the meditation isn't doing it, or maybe Brez is going to help with their meditation, things of that nature. So I think that's beautiful. I think the enemy of going and showing, there's some real drawbacks to alcohol, like some legitimate drawbacks to alcohol. Some people can do it fine, but others, you don't want to play in that sandbox. And now I have it feels a lot like akin to a liquid death, where I'm not drinking a plastic bottle anymore. I'm drinking a brand. And I almost feel that it is more of a lifestyle brand than it is a beverage brand at this point, where you're promoting, especially you're fairly enlightened, but Aaron is really enlightened. He's very down that path of, helping people. Like in the indoctrination is real with him. Like he feels it in his bones. And I think you guys, especially too, looking through so there's a great framework by Hamilton Helmer, the 7 powers. And looking through that, I think right now you have a cornered resource. That's one of the powers, with Aaron being able to effectively run paid scale for a CBD brand. Like that's really hard to do. And there's only a few people that
THC.
Sorry, excuse me. Thank you. And I think counter positioning, where you're counter positioning against, hey, you don't need to drink, like, because I'm in Austin and zero alcohol or like zero proof liquor and alcohol and beer. It's like a big thing here now, where people go out to the
Yeah,
bar.
it's
Expect them
also
on
like $25 a drink.
Yeah.
exactly, but you get what I'm saying. That counter positioning of
Yeah, I
you're counter
do.
positioning against the not only big mean people, but these are giving you poison. They're ruining
Well,
you, the kind of thing. And I think that's brilliant, man. I really love what you guys are doing. And then the last thing is, and then I'll stop rambling. Is you guys finally crossed the chasm. I see so many D2C brands get the exponential, and then they just get absolutely wrecked with their logistics. And you guys did,
Yep.
but you handled the pre-sale better than I tweeted about it. You handled your
that was
pre-sale
wild.
better than anybody I've ever seen. And now that you've crossed that chasm, Aaron has his logistics in, you have more cash flow to make the POs bigger. And now you've really like, that's the number one death knell that I've seen with people is like, well, especially because you guys have 2 SKUs now, right? Or I guess you're tall boy, small boy. So 4, or I guess 2 SKUs, 4 products ish. But anyways, my point being, when you are a D2C brand and 1 or 2 of your hero products go out of stock, and you're not a price setter, you're a price taker. So you're at least going to have 60 days before it gets from factory to your distro.
You're
That is
done.
a long time. Because what are you going to do? It
Dude,
shuts everything off.
we were 45 days on pre-sale. You can't run 45 days pre-sale and still spend.
Yeah.
No way.
So
Jess, you haven't tried it yet, have you?
no, haven't.
Have you? I'll take care of that. Have you? Do you consume alcohol at times?
I drink probably 1 beer a week because I find it kind of disgusting, just the taste
Cool.
of it.
So I've been sober since high school, and just dealing with the things that happen with me and my family. Aaron has his own relationship to alcohol, and so a lot of these different experiences that we go through, like there's a very bold thing to say. It's a very strong thing to say. So some people might feel uncomfortable, but I'm gonna say it anyways. Like what alcohol does to your life and your relationships, and the fear that it puts into your loved ones and potentially those that look to you as a guardian, is something that you will never ever experience if you consume THC, especially hemp derived
Yeah.
THC.
Yeah. Our weed budget's $1,000 a month. So I hear you. I hear you for sure.
Powerful JV.
Done. Okay, done. So
go.
I'm actually offended you haven't tried it yet, because you're a connoisseur.
Who can we get a free 6 in the chat if somebody
Yeah.
if we like somebody in
Yeah,
the
I would.
chat.
If anybody
ping me in
hasn't
the
tried
chat,
it yet,
yeah.
if anybody
Maybe we'll
hasn't
get
tried
you
it
some
yet,
free. It's fantastic.
not Phil,
Actually.
just not Phil. Anybody but Phil.
No green bubbles. No
Dennis
green bubbles.
Dennis is a big fan of it
Oh
though.
yeah,
He did. He
tried it already?
hit a Baron. So if Dennis, if you want one, brother, we'll ship you out a pack for sure.
He has
Yeah.
exquisite taste in bracelets. I always look at his tennis bracelets when I see him, and they're beautiful.
All right. So let us give away some merch here. We have
Let's
3
go.
drawings.
Oh wow.
Chat so fresh, chat putting in work. Who in the chat is gonna win this match?
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people. The chance to get this sort of Hawaiian merch shirt. Let's see who gets it.
I love that.
Drum roll, please.
Please be Phil. Please be Phil.
If he wins back,
Phil's already got one. One of the retweeters. So, James, if you're watching, I only know your name. I don't have your address. So find me online and then send me your address, and we can certainly do that.
Congrats, James.
Now moving on to the Agency Boss muscle shirt.
Neat.
Oh, this better be Dennis. This better be Dennis.
This is so Dennis vibe. That's amazing. Come on, Hextad. Let's go.
Let's run it.
Dun, 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 dun. We don't need no merch. They just dropped a beautiful T-shirt for the Whaleys. Get out of here! Unbelievable, this guy.
All right, so we have an even better one for Dennis. Let's hope he wins, and I'll take Alan and James out of it. But we have a long sleeve version of this one.
Oh,
here we go.
Oh, gas!
No way. I
That
hope I
is
get this.
incredible.
Jess, you better ship me one of these.
Yeah, we'll ship you all three. All right, 4 on the board. Let's see who gets this one. All over
This is so
Brent.
ridiculous.
This is so on brand, and I love it.
Ooh,
Is
Phil
is
again.
Unbelievable. Phil's just cleaning out. That's amazing.
This
There's no
dude's
Barry.
wardrobe is going to be.
It's just incredible. There's no Barry Hot today. He's too
Yeah.
busy playing with his Post-its, I guess. I'm a little disappointed.
East Coaster. Maybe he wakes up at noon or something.
It's a good point. Yeah, we did shift the time a little bit earlier.
He's probably putting Post-it notes all over things in his house.
That's exactly what he's doing. Or popping out of toilets. I don't know if you've seen the latest one. It's pretty funny.
I did. Yeah, that was pretty good.
Yeah.
All right. So the last segment is cops and robbers.
Whoop whoop, that's the sound of the police. Rabah's on the loose and he's got a new piece.
But that Robert is the old jingle. You ready for the new one?
Yeah. Oh, please
Ooh.
tell me you did it.
By request.
Rabah, Rabah, what you gonna cop? What you gonna cop from all the latest new drops?
None of the kids will get that reference, but there was a show called Cops, and that was a riff off of that, and I love it. I love it. I know we're bumping up against it, so I'll be quick. I told you guys I had the Lola blanket, and I bought those little pillows, but the pillows were actually, they had a variant. They had 2 variants, a small one and a medium, or a small and large. I ended up buying the small on accident, so I actually couldn't even use them. And then I found this really cool company called Yaya Co, and they have these like really quirky, crazy pillows. So I got a few pillows. They have really awesome stuff. And it was interesting because they have this way of kind of moving product where I bought kind of the older designs because these are a little bit more expensive. And I bought the older designs, ended up getting like the SMS thing and stuff. So I ended up kind of not spending as much money as I thought. And I absolutely love them. They're super cool, eclectic. If you're into that kind of abstract, textured type of vibes, go check them out. YAYA and co.com, or just Google Yaya Co pillows. But yeah, they're super groovy. I love them, and they look fabulous. So that's the Cops and Robbers.
Is the Vision Pro everything you expected?
Yeah.
You
Curious.
know, I think there's
Buyer's
a
remorse?
Well, no, because it's Firmat bought it for us because we were going to use it in
There we
like
go.
demos. And what also is awesome is it doesn't even hit my P&L because it's an asset. So we put it on the balance sheet, which is even better. So it actually doesn't even go against any of my budget. But no, I mean, there's some really cool stuff to it. The 2 12 out of 10 features that I've found so far are you can connect your laptop to it. And so you can actually have an extended monitor, which is great. They black out the monitor down there. And so, for example, like a plane or a coffee shop or things of that nature, you can get a really big monitor. I always work better on a big monitor. That's a 12 out of 10 feature. The other really 12 out of 10 feature is if you watch anything through the Apple TV app, you can go into this thing called cinema mode, and it literally puts you in an immersive movie theater. So those are kind of 2 out of 10s. Typing on it's atrocious. There's not a lot of apps yet for it, so that's pretty bad. Some of the apps that are out, like I was really excited to mess with the Crumble app. It's mid at best. So I would say, the one thing that is interesting is when you use it for extended periods of time, which is kind of hard because it's a bit heavy on the nose, your brain switches. And like I forgot I had it on a few times, and
Did you get fatigued?
No, because I used to get the nausea. You get used to as well. Like normally you move your neck. You get used to just moving your eyes because the eye tracking is so good. That's how you kind of move the cursor, if you will, like the proverbial cursor. So I think, if the company is going to buy it, try it out. It's not a gimmick, but it's not it yet, if that makes sense. And I think it's going to become it. I think this is going to be the new way that a lot of people are going to compute because there's just a lot of really cool things. Like, for example, you can have your monitor and then there's a Safari app. So you can have a bunch of apps pinned and the spatial stuff works really well. The one thing I will say is I used it on a plane a few times now, and it doesn't track really well because it needs to know where it's at. And so since the plane is moving, once you get into the air, it's less moving, but like a subway or something like that, it's not going to work.
Right.
And so
Interesting.
there is a travel mode that you can put it into, which is pretty cool. And then the other thing that I found out too is like you can mirror it to your computer. So if you're showing it to somebody, you can actually see what they see or vice versa. And then the last thing that I'll say is pretty cool because this is what we're going to use it for is you can turn on a guest mode. And so lock people out of apps or just enable certain apps. And then so you can pass. So we're taking it to Shop Talk and showing people like firm out experiences on it. But for $5,000, this is the most expensive computer I've ever bought. It's definitely more useful than my iPad, I'll tell you that much, but
Right.
it's definitely not, if I was buying this personally, I would not have purchased it.
Yep.
Dang.
All right.
I
Well,
almost bought. I think I was gonna go buy it today, but not anymore.
Well, I mean, if you
V2, wait for V2.
Agencies having a good time, or like, I mean, it's really I think cool for like if you were still running geek outs or stuff like that, like actually because it's a really cool experience and people want to do it, and then you can kind of pitch them in the Vision Pro because you can have the things pulled up. So that's literally why we bought it. Wasn't just for me to play around with it, but to be not gimmicky at places, but it's like, oh, you want to see firm out experiences? We can pull up 6 or 7 experiences and you can use them, see them all in the Vision Pro. And
That's
that's
cool.
way cooler than me pulling out my phone and be like, hey, look at this phone. Like nobody's really going to want to do that, especially at something like Shop Talk where you have to be a little weird and eclectic to make things stand out. So I don't know. I would definitely try it though, Shaq. You would vibe with it. It's interesting, and I think as you travel more, you'll like it because I know you like a big monitor as well. That
Exactly.
slaps. That's a very awesome feature, and I think that's possibly worth the price of admission. Again, if you're putting it through the agency or on the Brez account or something like that, it's definitely worth it. But as a personal purchase, unless you're like a tech reviewer or somebody that's super early adopter, this is going to be the most expensive and the worst Apple Vision Pro is my thesis.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Well, to the 330 people that tuned in to watch us on Twitter, thank you very much. This is the end of the show. Be sure to like and subscribe wherever you're watching this, and we really appreciate all y'all guys.
Amazing. Shaq, thank you so much for coming on, dude. You're always just a beacon of light to my soul, and I really appreciate everything you're doing. You want to plug anything? You want to plug some Brez? How can people buy it?
No,
What
I
you
think this would be. No, that's it. Nothing.
That's
I
it.
appreciate you guys. Jess, good finally to spend some time with you. Rob, I love you, buddy.
Yeah.
And I'll
Love
see
you
you guys
too,
on the Twitter.